Hi, everyone. Welcome to In Conversation with ASI. I am joined by the gorgeous Emelia Morris. Welcome to In Conversation. Thank you so much for coming along and agreeing to take part in the series.
You're welcome, and thanks for
Oh,
having me.
oh no, it's a no-brainer. I mean, actually, before I hit record, I was like, don't forget your 2020 award recipient for One to Watch. And you're like, I forgot about that. And I'm thinking, why? Why forget about that? So, you've done some incredible things throughout your career. And for those who maybe aren't familiar with who you are and what you're about, can you tell us, a little bit of a spiel about Emelia Morris?
Sure. I'm a Geelong-based personal stylist. I studied with ASI in April of 2019. So I mainly am based as a personal stylist in Geelong. I also dabble in editorial as well. But my main passion, is personal styling. So I'm also the Geelong Westfield stylist. Yeah.
Awesome. I noticed actually you shared in the Facebook group a couple of weeks ago, you had a shoot with some stars in New Idea, which was very under wraps at the time that we had sort of had an initial conversation about that. But how does it actually feel when you see your work presented in a national publication?
Mind-blowing, because before 2019, I was working in the public sector for over 10 years, and styling probably wasn't something that I ever thought that I could achieve. And actually being the lead stylist and like getting the front cover of a publication in just over 2 years after completing your studies is just wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I forget some of the accolades along the way just because there's just been, without, like, I'm not tooting my own horn, but there's been so many memorable moments that I just never thought would be possible. And I think having, I guess, the community behind me from ASI, having mentors and all those things help you to achieve your goals.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What is sort of one of the memorable moments of your career?
Um, well, winning, like looking back now, winning the 2021 to Watch award, because I watched Bianca Rattray win that the year before me, and never did I think I could achieve as much as someone like her in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I forgot to mention at the beginning, some of the things I've been up to is now I'm the fashion editor of GT magazine. And I had manifested that from the day I became a stylist, because one of my mentors is Denny, Style by Denny. I'm sure lots of you are familiar with them. And I thought, oh, one day I would love to do that. Just being able to share with my Geelong community my obviously passion for the styling industry and fashion. Yeah, and now it's a dream come true.
That is so cool. Do you think, let me ask this in a different way, but you mentioned just before, like mentoring and community support and things like that. How do you think that's helped shape where you are now versus when you started?
Well, I think when you first start, you have a lot of doubt whether you can achieve your dreams and your goals. And by having that support, by, just going back and forth, getting some ideas, pointing you in the right direction and getting that help, even just from other stylists in our community as well. So just to keep pushing you to keep going. Yeah, you're going to have failures along the way, but there's going to be some really big wins as well. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. You've heard that before.
Oh, too good.
Yeah.
So how does someone who was working in the public sector become a stylist? What was that tipping point that made you go, hang on a second, I could actually take this love of mine and turn it into something incredible, like where you're at now?
Sure. I had been posting some of my outfits. I'd love to do that on Instagram. I'd love sharing the looks I collated with other people. And then I'd started getting lots of questions from people that I know, family and friends, and also just people that were following me on Instagram. And I thought, actually, I don't just like it for myself. I like helping other people as well. And I've been in a place where I felt so low, where fashion has made me feel overwhelmed, not confident. And I thought the time where I switched that around, it made me feel so empowered. How amazing would that be if I could help other people do that? And I knew that I couldn't do that on my own. So I did a Google search and ASI came up on the top, and then
the rest is history.
The rest is history, as they say.
So cool.
Yeah.
With that, and just what you shared then, I know you and I have had many a conversation around how the industry impacts people's esteem and confidence and things like that in the way that they, I guess, show representation in their marketing collateral, through socials, even using influencers to showcase their clothing. What is it about that need for diversity that really like gets that bee in your bonnet that you're like, oh, this is so frustrating?
I think being a woman of color, at one point I was a size 16 to a size 18. I grew up in a small country town where I was the different one. The other girls in my school didn't look like me. I used to dress like a tomboy because I was trying to cover up my body because I didn't see people that look like me. And as time has gone on, I can't believe that we're still there. Like, you know, there's some labels that still only go to a size 12, or they're only showing one type of models. So for me, it's really important for me to change that culture. So people, and specifically women, because that's my forte with my styling, is to make a difference and make them feel like they can feel good and confident and they're able to shop it in all stores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any brands that you're noticing who do that really well?
Yes, and a lot of them, unfortunately, are online. Yes. So Little Party Dress,
yes,
they're really great. Also, and Body Woman.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a long list, but they're mainly online. Bohemian Traders, Saint Frock. Yeah.
As a woman of color, like, you know, I can't share an experience based on what you've, you know, experienced, but what's important to you when it comes to representation in the industry with more like Indigenous culture and things like that as well?
That it's not tokenism, that labels are being genuine about showing a diverse range of models or everyday people in their campaigns. Even like not just people of color, but different shapes and sizes, different ages, people with disabilities. Like, people want to feel connected or see themselves in advertising, so that they know that they're welcome to shop there. Yeah.
I must say, like, for me, when I see a brand finally doing that, it's like, why have you waited so long?
Yeah.
It's like, now I finally feel like I can like press checkout if I had things in a cart, because I finally see how it's going to be for me. I know that you and I both love Country Road, but they had a gorgeous campaign a couple of months ago, and I remember seeing it on Facebook, and I actually commented. And I'm not usually someone who does that, but I just wrote on there, I said, I absolutely love this campaign, but it would be great if I could see it on someone who's actually a size 16, given that that's what you stock up to, and I can't envisage what my shape is going to look like in that piece when I only see it represented on one type of person. How often do you hear that kind of feedback if you're taking a client into a store and they're like, I would never shop here because it won't fit, or there's resistance because they don't know what they don't know, given the fact they haven't seen themselves represented?
Sure, all the time. And that's why I write to labels all the time, not in an aggressive manner, just, you know, me looking from the inside out and just going, you know, you're stocking a size 14 or a 16, but you're constantly showing a size 6 or a size 8. And when I go into your website, and when I go into your store, they're all gone. So don't tell me that your size 14 or 16 girls aren't buying your clothes. They are. You're taking their money. If you're taking their money, they're good enough for you to show in their advertising and marketing campaigns.
I love your passion around this.
Amen.
Like, it just, even then, like, as you say that, I hear like the the grit behind the need for this. And I'm really glad that you're someone who does actually reach out to labels, because it's all well and good to stand there and say you stand for it, but it's also like, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
And I love that you are actively, you know, on that path to get some change, which is really, really cool.
Yeah. And it can be detrimental as a stylist, obviously working in editorial too, when you're learning and everything like that. But at the end of the day, enough is enough.
Yeah.
And that's more important to me.
Yeah. I think especially as we see the rise of people who, you know, have their 2 months of fame after being on reality TV, like they're not all the size 6, size 8 model, like they're real people. And if you are dressing them for an event, because I know you worked with Michelle from Maths.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, how did you find, you know, sourcing garments for her and her shape? Because she would be what, a 16, and she's quite petite in terms of height.
Yes. I will, if it's all right with you, I'd love to talk about Sarah from the block.
Yes.
Because for the auction, the struggle I had to get her a sample garment was just outrageous, because she was a size 10. Everything was a size 6 or 8. So if I wanted something that hadn't been released to the public before for her, it was very difficult because it wasn't available in her size. So I went with a smaller designer, which was actually in the end better for everybody. It was great because Sarah loved the designer. It was great because she had the size 10 and she's a small business as well. So it got her extra exposure.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
And I guess, when you're working in that sort of celebrity editorial space, if you do have a model who's not the 6 or 8, what do you do when you're trying to source clothing? Like, smaller designers can be that sort of hidden gem. And it's so great. Yeah, support local, support small business.
And with Michelle, to your question for that, was going through a dress hire company, and also City Chic, which is a curve label. So you're excluded, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I mean, everyone's worthy of wearing amazing clothes. And it's funny, I remember Lauren and I having a chat the other week, and I can't remember who it was with, but there was a point that Lauren made in that conversation saying how, you know, generally speaking, the plus size woman is more conditioned to spend more on clothes, because when she actually finds something that fits, it's like nothing else matters. It fits, it works, like ding, 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 let's take it, because God knows when I'll find that again. And it's interesting how even that, from, I guess, a fashion perspective, we're excluded from, you know, affordable, depending on what you deem affordable in terms of clothing as well. So,
And most of my personal styling clients who are a size 16, like a fuller 16 plus, I have to go virtual, because for me, I'm not going to take your money and just compromise on your overall look. So that is where bricks and mortar stores are missing out. Yeah.
So true. I love what you shared before about saying, you know, don't tell me that you're not selling the clothes, because every time I go into a store, the bigger sizes are gone. And it's so true. Whenever you see a sale rack, it's usually the smaller sizes. It's interesting. When it comes to, I guess, seeking inspiration creatively and for your business and, you know, trends and things like that, where do you look to? Where do you get inspo from?
Sure. Well, Instagram is a great place to get some inspo. People that you love to follow, trendsetters. I'm subscribed to Business of Fashion, also Who, What, Where. That's a really great one as well. So they're my top ones.
Yeah. Who do you follow on Insta? Who really, like, do you seek inspo from on Insta?
They're probably not Insta famous people that everybody would know. I love Simone Anderson. She's a New Zealand influencer. Do you know who she is?
Yeah, I've heard her name before.
Yeah. So she was 180 kilos.
Yep.
And she now I think is like about 90 or 90, I think, kilos. But she was very fashionable at 180 kilos as well. And she's just so confident, and she empowers other people. And it's not about everybody lose weight. It's about following her on her journey. She's just an everyday person who is confident in herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Style by Denny. Yeah. Love them. Also Kate was.
Yes. Yeah. She's based in WA, I'm pretty sure. Kate Worsley. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I remember her and another model, Georgia, someone had a dual sort of body positivity campaign a little while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but her being the plus size and then Georgia being sort of the standard size model and things like that. It went viral from memory, like one or two of their photos, which is really cool.
And she was a big advocate for Fashion Week in Sydney, just saying, like, you know, what the hell, it's 2021. Why is there still no curve models on the runway? Not like just tokenism, like two here, whatever, like they should be in every single show. Yeah. And Tanika B, she is a Black American influencer and wears lots of color, and I just love her because I love color. Yeah.
Speaking of color, you do some incredible reels that showcase your incredibly colorful wardrobe. What is your process of coming up with a reel? How does it come about?
Oh man, so if you if you've made a reel, you would know it takes a lot of effort, but I feel like people are way more engaged with videos now. So I do a combination of showing my audience different outfits, but just also styling advice as well. Like, what does a style rut look like? You know, don't let the tag define who you are, or what you're going to wear. Yeah. So just things like that.
Yeah. Always spreading your message, which I think is really cool. And you see that throughout lots of what you do and the versatility of, you know, one piece so many ways. And I'm sure that really bodes well for your audience as well, knowing that your personal styling clients really resonate with that kind of content.
Yeah. And before all these lockdowns, I really didn't advertise anywhere. So doing reels and posting regularly, that's where I got my clients from. And then it became like word of mouth and then referrals from previous clients.
Yeah. Tell us a little more about your role with Westfield.
Sure. So that came about, I think, at the end of last year. And so I do a little bit of visual merchandising and I also do personal shopping sessions, just one-on-one. So it's a little bit different how it works compared to the method, how we're taught at ASI, but definitely everything that I learned there can be integrated. It's just you shop as you go instead of pre-sourcing beforehand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good because I've been able to create relationships with retailers within Westfield. I'm easily able to loan now from Maya and Country Road and Seed. So that was a bonus working hand in hand for that.
Cool. Love that. Who would you say your biggest supporter is on this journey to styling?
Oh, I'm going to say, can I have 4?
Yeah, why not? Let's hear them.
Yeah. So I've got 3 mentors.
Yep.
So you, Style by Denny and Caitlin. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So, and also my husband, because every time I'm like, oh, you know, this isn't working, or like, maybe I could have done that better. And he's like, yo, you know, look how much you've achieved so far. Just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of that voice of reason talks you off the ledge.
Yeah.
Has there been a time, in fact, I know that at the start of maybe even the end of last year, you and I had a very frank conversation because you rang me saying that you weren't sure whether you could really go back to your full-time job after like a Christmas break and things like that. You were sort of at a turning point where it was either you still juggle the two or you take a leap of faith. Having been there for 10 years, you had some long service leave up your belt.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's due to have finished now. So where are you at in terms of the working for the public sector and being Emelia or a stylist? What does that sort of gap look like at the moment?
Yeah, so I've been on long service leave since the end of January. So I was going to save it for a rainy day. And then you're like, what, like, why are you waiting for like this? A lot of people don't have that opportunity. So that was my perfect chance just to see if I could make it a reality. And I was burning the candle at both ends beforehand. You know, I was working a 40-hour week, and then I would go and style after work sometimes of an evening. Then I would work all weekend. And it just, you know, you can't sustain that all the time. So that's really been good for the first 6 months, because I was able to set up some things in the background for my business, take on some more clients during the week and things like that. So I had an extension. So yeah, it finishes in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we might be having a conversation as that gets closer.
Yeah.
I'm really proud that you did take that leap, because I know for anyone who will watch this, if they're at that tipping point where they're like, I am burning the candle at both ends. And at one point I remember you saying to me, like, I'm having to push people away because I just don't have the time capacity to dedicate to taking on any more work.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Something's got to give at some point. And I remember one of the things that you and I talked about was sort of like thinking about it logically from not only like the financial perspective, because that's obviously a big thing when you've got that security of a full-time job and the know that paycheck's coming in monthly or fortnightly, whenever it is, to then being self-employed, where it's like, well, if you don't get a client a week or, you know, X amount of hours up your belt, how does that affect everything else? And, you know, I'm really glad that you and hubby like took the time to actually work through that together. And I'm sure that, you know, he's very proud of you. And everything that you've been able to achieve. And little Zeke, your little puppy. No, I think, you know, it takes a lot to actually step away from that security. But, you know, I think if anything, you've proved more to yourself than anything else that you can do it. And I hope that you recognize that in yourself, because, yeah, you've done amazing things. Like, who would have thought 6 months ago that you would be that dream come true GT editor? And I mean, you featured on the cover twice, I think now, for them, once or twice?
Once, and then a feature in the Surf Coast Times. Yeah. So
like, it's amazing. I know one of your other big projects was working with Elira Potter last year as well. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Well, I'd known Elira before that for about 6 months, and she was sitting around like 4,000 on Instagram. And I got talking to her at an event, and I just thought, this woman is so remarkable. You know, she's got an influential family, Indigenous family, who were activists back in the day, who did a lot of great things for the Indigenous community. And I was like, you are like your grandfather. You've got this in you to make a difference and educate people and spread that Black girl magic out there. And then I think we got out of lockdown in regional Victoria, maybe like, you know, lockdown 1, lockdown 3, or who knows. And I said, let's do something together. I would love to be the creative director and put everything together for this shoot. And then I put a call out to, like, you know, Geelong businesses, makeup, hair, like a flower company. And we had a day shoot, and we got a videographer and everything, and everybody. It was TFP. And then Vogue Online picked up the images, and then
away we went.
Away we went. And then now Elira, in that time too, has been able to quit her job, and she's a full-time wellness influencer. So she's living her best life now.
And in part, like, thanks to you for being that person to actually push her to put herself out there and showcase herself, which is so cool. I love that. So looking ahead to the future, what does success look like to you?
I feel like success was, and I say was only because we're in this lockdown, and I think it's all right to have your peaks and troughs, like, that's life. So success is doing something that I love, which I am doing right now. So I think it's good to also keep setting, little goals. And there's a few other things that I'm working on in the background. I've been developing a workshop around body diversity and sizing inclusivity. So that's something I really want to be able to do this year. So it is finished. I just need to polish it a little bit more. And then hopefully I can get it out there soon.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
With the peaks and troughs, is there a time that you can remember where you were like, it's all too hard, I just need to give up? And how did you actually get through the other side of that?
Yeah, I think now.
Yeah.
Right now, because I've had some really great opportunities that were going to happen in the next couple of months, which now it's not going to happen because of the lockdowns. But I know that's not going to be the end of it. So I've just got to keep saying that to myself. And I've had to reschedule a lot of clients, which I'm sure everybody watching this is in the same boat. But it's how can you pivot and adapt. So that's what happened with the first lockdown that happened. So I changed to virtual. Virtual allowed me to service my curvy gals.
Yeah.
So now I just, I'm in a little bit of a funk. I'll pick myself out of it and then, keep going.
Yeah, cool. And how do you measure success for yourself?
Not on what other people think. I think success is about how it makes you feel. For me, success is like, I never thought I would be sitting here right now. You're interviewing me, sharing my story with other people in the community who are like-minded. And I bet you lots of other people would feel exactly the same way. They might have been sitting in a job before that they absolutely hated, wasn't fulfilling them. In my previous job too, like, I feel like I was a butler. Like, I could do my job, but there was other people who were like really intelligent, like they were academics and stuff like that. For me, that wasn't, I could do my job, but, it's styling. You don't need to be an academic. It's about being creative. Yeah. And as a stylist, you don't need to be the most polished stylist either. I'm not the most polished stylist as well. But I feel like I've got that gift of making people feel good in something. It doesn't need to be really, it doesn't need to be a ball gown to make them feel really good. Yeah.
It's those simple things in life that so many of us take for granted. And like finding a great pair of jeans, I don't think there's any better feeling than finding a pair of jeans and you're like, oh, they just fit perfectly.
Yeah.
It's empowering. And I love that you recognize that in your ability to be able to deliver that for your clients. That's really special.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing your insights and about your journey. I think anyone who's watched this would not only recognize the achievements that you have done, even though sometimes you forget them yourself because there's so many, but also your passion and drive to actually help the industry make a change. And I think, even continuing from winning the award last year, you're someone to watch in the industry. And I'm really excited to see what unfolds for you in the future.
Thank you.
And so welcome. See you soon.
Bye.